Welcome back, everybody, to the Renaissance Humanism podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Riley, and in today's podcast, I will be discussing why are we having inflation. I have some bad news and more bad news regarding inflation in the United States of America, which can also be applied to certain other nations with similar demographics, such as the United Kingdom. For one, COVID-19 is no longer a prime factor in regards to why we have inflation. Regarding the requirements of having certain goods and services, according to the geopolitical analyst Peter Zillan, it takes on average around 18 months to supply chains to alter and change to meet the current demands of the population. The United States, it's great news that they're finally emerging from the COVID mass squaring, from the COVID event. They're finally emerging from that crisis, and also that the big issue is for the United States in the long run. They currently have a 400,000 labour shortage. I've heard some saying within the next decade or so there'll be over 1 million people. The reason for this shortage that half of the baby boomers, there's people born between 1946 to 1964, though some people do it from 1948 or from 1945 to 1960 or from 1963. So they'll get different data and different information doing different results. But for me, what I understand it is just do it as from 1946 to 1964. Half those boomers will be retiring or have already retired, and the other half should be retiring this decade. And most of them should be dead by 2040. I'm not saying this because I'm against boomers. My mum, my father, they're both boomers. Well, dad's a boomer, mum's a Gen X, but you don't want them to die, but you just what will happen. Of course, they're going to die. The price of labour will go up. That will also lead to more inflation because companies are going to have to spend more and more money on training staff, uh, getting people to come from abroad, and even immigration, which could also see wages flatten as well, or wages rise, depending on how the United States of America chooses to tackle the labour shortage. For the United Kingdom, uh, their birth rates have been low since the 1960s, if not earlier. The same applies to most other nations in Europe, applies to Canada, applies to Australia. And for the United Kingdom in particular, they've chosen to use people from its former colonies to keep its population level stable. But in the long run, that's not a solution because immigration, particularly in a country like the United Kingdom, doesn't apply to the United States. I will explain it in a second. The United Kingdom is an ancient country. It's over 1,000 years old. The United States of America, depending on your viewpoint, I've started with the American War of Independence and Declaration of Independence in 1776 when they actually declared independence. Or you got when America actually won the war against Britain in 1783, or when the Constitution of the United States was ratified and came into effect in 1789. It just depends on you, the lead reader, you, the listener, you, the viewers, personal opinion on that subject because it can vary from person to person. Some people say the United States began in the 1618 project, so it just depends what your viewpoint is. But the United States, within its system, is built to actually incorporate peoples from other countries. For the United States, if I move to America, I will become an American. My children will become American. America is very good and it's built. It's a nation supported by immigrants. Therefore, it's very easy for the United States to make foreigners into Americans. For nations like the United Kingdom, like France, like China, like Japan, that in some cases they're thousands of years old, particularly in China and Japan's case, and they don't have the same options as the United States does. And that's just something to be very aware of. And that's why inflation will be high for the next decade or more, particularly in the 2030s, because by then most of the boomers will be dead. And also the Gen Z. Gen Z are people born between 1997 and 2010. And there ain't enough Gen Z born to actually replace the boomer generation that's retiring. So again, that's why we're going to have high inflation. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Hope you found it useful and informative. Please take care and peace out.